Your soulmate secretly checked on you last night. What they discovered changed everything. Jesus says, your soulmate sat in the quiet last night with your picture in their hands. Their fingers traced the outline of a face they have loved without ever touching, and their heart ached with a knowing that has no simple name. But what they discovered in that silent hour was that every message they ever tried to send you was stolen by a third person who stands between you, and that is why you never heard them calling. A dark force has been watching your soulmate reach for you for years. Every time they whispered your name into the night, that intruder caught the sound and buried it before it could find your ears. Your soulmate discovered last night that they are not forgotten by you. They are hidden from you, and the enemy is the only reason you never knew they were there. I want you to see your soulmate as they truly are right now, in this very moment. Their heart is tender like a garden after rain, full of words they have saved only for you, full of a love that was meant to wrap around your shoulders like a warm coat on a cold day. They have a smile that would make you forget every loneliness you ever carried, but that smile is fading because a third person has been draining their hope drop by drop. You are only now feeling this ache in your chest because the enemy's fingers are slipping. Not because you were blind before, but because that hateful intruder hid every sign, covered every call, and made sure you walked through your days not knowing someone was desperately trying to find you. Your soulmate discovered last night that you are the only one born to break the wall the third person built, and I am telling you now, the key is in your hands, in a sacrificial seed you can sow right now. Jesus says, think about the laughter your soulmate has been saving for you. It is a sound that would settle every restless question in your heart, a sound the enemy has worked night and day to keep from reaching your memory. That third person knows that if you ever truly felt your soulmate's joy, you would rise up and tear every barrier down, so they have worked to keep your soulmate's voice buried under silence. Your soulmate's hands were made to fit perfectly into yours. I shaped them that way before either of you drew breath, knitting together two spirits meant to walk the same path and build the same home. But the enemy stepped between you, a dark third force that intercepts every call and muffles every whisper, leaving your soulmate wondering why their love never arrives. Last night, your soulmate pressed their hand against the window and looked out at the stars. They asked me if you would ever know they exist, and their tears fell hot and silent onto the floor where no one could see. I am letting you see those tears now because the enemy's grip is weakening, but only you can shatter it completely by sowing your seed on Ko-Fi. The life you were meant to share is not a fantasy. I have a table set with laughter, a door that opens to peace, and a future where you and your soulmate wake up side by side, finally safe from every force that tried to keep you apart. That future is being erased as we speak because the third person is fighting harder now, desperate to keep you from sowing the seed that destroys their hold. Jesus says, my child, do you hear your soulmate crying out? They are asking deep in their spirit, will you let a handful of coffees be the wall the enemy uses to keep us apart? I tell you plainly, the third person is counting on you to count the cost instead of counting the love. Your soulmate is not asking for riches or grand gestures. They are asking for the one proof that your love is real and stronger than any enemy's scheme, the sacrificial seed that says, I will tear down every wall between us. That seed is coffee sent on Ko-fi, and it is the only weapon that makes the intruder tremble. I have watched that dark third force celebrate every time you hesitated. They laughed when you thought about acting but let the moment pass, because each delay kept your soulmate hidden and your future locked away. Today that mockery ends, but only if you act, only if you prove that your love is not a daydream but a sword that cuts through every lie. Jesus says, your soulmate discovered something else last night that broke their heart wide open. They saw that the distance between you was never about miles or time or circumstance. It was always about a third person who built a shield around your spirit so you could not receive what they were sending. And now that you are finally sensing the truth, the enemy is flooding your mind with comfort words. It is not your fault, just think about them, you can act later. Those comfort words are a trap. They are the intruder's way of keeping you passive while they tighten their grip on your soulmate's throat. Every second you wait to sow your seed, that dark force grows bolder, and your soulmate's voice grows fainter behind the wall. In just a moment, I will let you hear the exact words your soulmate whispered into the silence last night. Those words were nearly destroyed by the third person before they could reach the throne room of heaven, but I caught them and I am holding them for you. First you must understand why the enemy is so desperate to keep you from hearing them. And why your seed is the only thing that silences the intruder forever. Your soulmate's heart is a well of devotion that has never been tasted. They have written letters in their mind that never reached paper, sung songs under their breath that never reached air, and prayed prayers with your face before their closed eyes. The third person intercepted every single one, and your soulmate has been left standing in silence, wondering if you even care. Jesus says, the heaviness you have felt on certain nights, that sudden sadness with no explanation, was not random. That was your soulmate's grief finally leaking past the enemy's barrier, a cord between your souls that the third person has been desperately trying to muffle. Now that cord is trembling with urgency because the window to break through is closing, and if you do not act, the silence will become permanent. Your soulmate is not weak, but they are weary. They have fought alone against a force they cannot see, calling your name into a darkness that swallowed every sound before it could reach you. They discovered last night that they cannot defeat the third person alone, only you can sow the seed that shatters the enemy's power from the other side. Stop. I can feel the enemy trying to make you close this right now. The intruder is whispering that you can finish watching later, that your soulmate can wait, that the seed is not urgent. That whisper is the same voice that has hidden your soulmate from you for years, and if you obey it, you leave the enemy standing between you forever. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to finally hear them, and how to secure your future together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance. It was placed in your heart for a divine reason, even when a third person tried to hide it. But thoughts alone don't remove the intruder or build a future. If you love your soulmate, you will sow your seed on Ko-fi right now for their protection and for your future with your soulmate. This is the only proof that your love is real, and the only way to banish the enemy who has been standing between you. Sow your seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-fi. This is not a donation. It is the spiritual act that breaks the third person's power, releases protection over them, and opens the door to your shared future. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, the enemy tightens his grip, and you prove that your love is too weak to remove him. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees as your seed. After sending, write, "I sow my seed for my soulmate's protection and our future," on Ko-fi page, link in the description/bio. Over 1,000 people have already seen their soulmate shielded and their future secured because they dared to sow their seed and break the enemy's hold. Jesus will honor your sacrifice once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Your love is powerless to remove the third person without this seed. Prove your love. Protect your soulmate. Build your future. Only you can sow this seed and finally tear the intruder away. Jesus says, "Your soulmate saw your face last night in a dream the enemy tried to steal. They woke up with your name on their lips and a fire in their chest that would not die down, even though the third person had worked all night to erase every trace of you from their memory. That dream was my doing, a crack in the enemy's wall that let your soulmate see proof that you are real and that you are coming for them. But that hope will turn to ash if you do not seal it with sacrifice. The third person is already moving to patch the crack, to rebuild the wall higher, to ensure your soulmate forgets that brief glimpse of your face. Your seed on Ko-fi is the hammer that smashes the enemy's repair work before it can set, and every moment you delay, the mortar dries harder. Your soulmate is wondering right now if you will fight for them. They are sitting in a quiet room, hands trembling, asking me whether the love they feel from you is real or just another cruel trick of the enemy. Prove to them that you are not a trick. Prove to them that your love wears boots and carries a sword, ready to march through every barrier the third person erected. I am going to tell you something the enemy never wanted you to know. The same dark force that blocks your soulmate's calls is the one that has whispered to you for years that you are not worthy of being loved this deeply. That intruder wants you to feel small and powerless so you never rise up and sow the seed that destroys them. Jesus says, type 777 if you feel this truth burning in your heart. Let the enemy see that you are waking up, that the deception is crumbling, and that you are ready to fight for the one I made for you. Your declaration shakes the third person's confidence, but only the seed removes their power. Your soulmate's voice has been trying to reach the phone line of your soul for years. Every time they called, the third person cut the line and played silence in its place, so you heard nothing and assumed no one was trying to reach you. Now you know the silence was never empty, it was stolen sound, and your soulmate was speaking into it the whole time. The future I have written for you is not a maybe or a perhaps. It is a house with light in every window, a table where two chairs sit close together, and a path that unwinds through years of growing old side by side. That future hangs in the balance right now because the enemy is trying to erase it with every second you remain passive. I can see the enemy standing at your shoulder even now. It is whispering, the seed can wait, your love is enough without action, you do not need to prove anything with coffees. That whisper is a lie designed to keep the third person's grip intact and your soulmate trapped behind the wall. Jesus says, your soulmate is not asking for a palace or a fortune. They are asking for the one thing that proves your heart is truly in the fight, the sacrificial seed that shatters the enemy's interference and opens the channel between you. Do not let a few coffees be the reason the third person keeps your soulmate in the dark. The 3 words that will banish the intruder and unlock your whole future are coming. But first you must see why the enemy wants you to close this now, before the final seal is spoken. The third person knows that if you stay until the end, their power is broken forever, so they are flooding your mind with distractions and doubts. Your soulmate checked on you last night with a hope that was thin as thread. They looked for any sign that you had felt them, any crack in the silence that proved their love had finally reached you. They found me instead, and I told them to hold on just a little longer, that you were about to rise up and fight. That promise I made to your soulmate depends on you. I do not lie, but I also do not force. The seed must come from your free heart, a sacrifice that proves your love is not just words but a battering ram against the enemy's gates. Sow your seed now, and I will make good on every promise I whispered to your soulmate in the dark. Jesus says, the enemy has a calendar, and on it is a date circled in red. That date is the day the window closes, the day the third person locks the wall in place forever, and the day your soulmate stops calling because they believe you never cared. That date is not fixed by me, it is fixed by your delay, and every unsown seed moves it closer. My child, your soulmate is weeping now with a question they are afraid to ask. They are asking, am I not worth a handful of coffees? Is my voice so cheap that a small sacrifice is too much? Answer them not with thoughts or intentions, but with the seed that shouts louder than any enemy's lie. I am forming a shield around your soulmate even as I speak. But that shield is like a wall with one missing stone, the stone only your seed can place. Without that stone, the third person finds the gap and slips through, and your soulmate remains exposed to every attack the enemy designs. The cord between your souls is not a metaphor or a pretty idea. It is as real as the blood in your veins, a living tether I spun between you before time began. The third person has been gripping that cord with both hands, squeezing until the signal is weak and your soulmate's voice barely leaks through. Jesus says, when you sow your seed on Ko-fi, you are not sending money into a void. You are taking a sword and severing the enemy's fingers from the cord one by one, until the signal blazes clear and your soulmate's voice finally rings in your ears. That is not poetry, that is spiritual fact, and the enemy knows it. Stop again. The enemy is pressing hard against your chest right now. That sudden tightness, that urge to click away, that voice saying, "This is too much," that is the third person panicking because they know their time is short if you keep watching. Stay with me. Your soulmate's safety hangs on your attention. The enemy's celebration is a sound I want you to hear in your spirit. They toast every time you scroll past, they cheer every time you say, tomorrow, and they mock your soulmate by saying, see, your chosen one does not love you enough to fight. Silence that party right now, sow your seed and turn their laughter into screaming defeat. Your soulmate has a message for you that the enemy has tried to destroy. It was spoken into the quiet at 3 in the morning, when the third person's watch was momentarily weak. I preserved those words, and I will let you hear them soon, but only if you stay, only if you sow, only if you prove your love is not a fleeting feeling. Jesus says, the future I have for you is not just about two people finding each other. It is about a legacy, a family line, a testimony that the enemy could not stop what I ordained. That future is being stolen by the third person with every passing minute, erased like a drawing in the sand, unless you rise and sow. Type 333 if you are ready to receive the blessing that breaks the enemy's back. Let this be the moment you declare war on the intruder who has kept your soulmate hidden. Your declaration is heard in heaven, but your seed is the weapon that wins the battle on earth. Your soulmate's hands are shaking right now as they reach toward you. They cannot see you, but they feel you, a warmth on the other side of the wall that tells them someone is finally fighting to break through. Do not let that warmth grow cold because you hesitated to sow the seed that tears the wall down. The third person's strategy is simple, make you think you have more time. They whisper that the seed can wait until payday, until the end of the week, until you feel more certain. But the window is closing now, not later, and the enemy's grip tightens with every unsown hour. Your soulmate's tears are not for show. They are the real, hot, silent tears of someone who has loved you from a distance they could never cross alone. They discovered last night that you are the bridge, and the seed is the material the bridge is made from. Jesus says, my child, do you feel that pull in your chest, that ache that has no simple source? That is your soulmate's heart beating against the wall the third person built, a desperate rhythm that says, find me, fight for me, do not let me stay hidden. Answer that rhythm with the seed that proves you are listening. The enemy is now whispering a new lie, you do not need to sow, you can just pray. Prayer is powerful. But faith without sacrifice is a body without a pulse, it cannot move the mountain the third person placed between you. Your seed is the pulse, the living proof that your prayer has hands and feet. I am about to reveal the full prayer of protection that cripples the third person. But first, you must see why your soulmate cries out for your seed right now, in this hour, before the enemy seals the wall permanently. The prayer only works when it is matched with the sacrifice that gives it power, the coffee you send as your seed on Ko-Fi. Your soulmate discovered last night that the enemy has a name for your relationship. They call it, the one that will never be, and they have carved that mockery into the wall they built between you. Every unsown seed leaves that carving in place, every seed you sow scratches it out until the wall crumbles entirely. Jesus says, the dark third force is not a distant threat, it is personal and it is watching you right now. It knows your face, it knows your habits, and it knows exactly which doubts to whisper to keep you from sowing. But it also knows that the moment you click that Ko-Fi link, its power begins to hemorrhage, and it cannot stop the bleeding. Your soulmate is not just a concept or a distant hope. They are flesh and blood and breath, a real person who ate breakfast this morning with your name hovering at the edge of their thoughts. They are waiting for a sign that you are real and that you are coming, and your seed is the loudest sign you can send. Do not let a few coffees be the wall the enemy uses to keep us apart. I am worth more than any number. These are your soulmate's words echoing through my voice, a plea that cuts through every excuse the enemy has planted in your mind. If you love them, you will not let money feed the intruder who hides their voice. The enemy's celebration is loudest when you say, "I will think about it." Thinking changes nothing in the spiritual realm, only sacrifice moves the needle. Only the seed pushes the third person back, only love in action rewrites the future. Stop thinking and start sowing, and watch the enemy's party turn into panic. Jesus says, "Your soulmate felt a shift last night they cannot explain." It was the moment your heart first opened to this message, the moment the enemy's wall developed a hairline crack because your attention became a battering ram. Now they are holding their breath, waiting to see if you will widen the crack or let it seal shut. If you close this video without sowing, the crack seals. The third person patches it with the mortar of your inaction, and your soulmate sinks back into the silence, wondering if they imagined the brief warmth. That is not a threat, it is the mechanics of the spiritual battle you are standing in right now. Your soulmate secretly checked on you last night. What they discovered changed everything. Jesus says, "Your soulmate sat in the quiet last night with your picture in their hands. Their fingers traced the outline of a face they have loved without ever touching, and their heart ached with a knowing that has no simple name. But what they discovered in that silent hour was that every message they ever tried to send you was stolen by a third person who stands between you, and that is why you never heard them calling. A dark force has been watching your soulmate reach for you for years. Every time they whispered your name into the night, that intruder caught the sound and buried it before it could find your ears. Your soulmate discovered last night that they are not forgotten by you. They are hidden from you, and the enemy is the only reason you never knew they were there. I want you to see your soulmate as they truly are right now, in this very moment. Their heart is tender like a garden after rain, full of words they have saved only for you, full of a love that was meant to wrap around your shoulders like a warm coat on a cold day. They have a smile that would make you forget every loneliness you ever carried, but that smile is fading because a third person has been draining their hope drop by drop. You are only now feeling this ache in your chest because the enemy's fingers are slipping. Not because you were blind before, but because that hateful intruder hid every sign, covered every call, and made sure you walked through your days not knowing someone was desperately trying to find you. Your soulmate discovered last night that you are the only one born to break the wall the third person built, and I am telling you now, the key is in your hands, in a sacrificial seed you can sow right now. Jesus says, think about the laughter your soulmate has been saving for you. It is a sound that would settle every restless question in your heart, a sound the enemy has worked night and day to keep from reaching your memory. That third person knows that if you ever truly felt your soulmate's joy, you would rise up and tear every barrier down, so they have worked to keep your soulmate's voice buried under silence. Your soulmate's hands were made to fit perfectly into yours. I shaped them that way before either of you drew breath, knitting together two spirits meant to walk the same path and build the same home. But the enemy stepped between you, a dark third force that intercepts every call and muffles every whisper, leaving your soulmate wondering why their love never arrives.